Hi, um, just making this video to, I guess, broad brush strokes hit some of the key elements as to why I have extreme reservations, to say it lightly, about Islam. Now, please do not take that as synonymous with I have any reservations about Muslims. They're the people. Islam is the theology and political ideology. That second part is the main, thorn in the side. I believe that if it could be extricated or divided away from the religion, that would be very ideal, very preferable, very, I'd be very amenable to that. But that's going to be a very tricky road to get down and a daunting destination, because one of the tenets of Islam is that it is perfect. The Quran is a perfect book. Nothing can be changed, nothing can be altered or revised. So, the facts that Sharia is disgusting. And note that I did not say the term Sharia law, because that's actually saying it double, because Sharia means Islamic law or God's law. So if you say Sharia law, you're saying Islamic law. But a lot of people do say Sharia law, so I just don't, because I know that one aspect. But I'm going to put links. But in Sharia, only is it a female, a woman or lady or girl's testimony in a court of law, and Sharia law court, it holds half of the weight of the same testimony if delivered by a male, a man, a dude. There's so many things that I don't even know where to begin, but the kafir thing, non-believers and people of the book. I'll tell you, there's a Jew hiding behind that rock. Go, striking their necks. And another trick or misleading tactic that people tend to use, Islamic apologists or imams, anything like that, they're defending the acceptability of Islam in a universal manner or anything along those lines, is they don't want people to know about the factor of abrogation. Abrogation means that a book can be written with different parts written at different times in different chronological order, but be skewed together and mismatched, and not put in the text in the same sequence in which they were written, time-wise, chronologically ordered. But the the Quran is like that. And when Muhammad went from Mecca to Medina, there's a shift in the tone and content of the writing, and the slant of, towards violence or not towards violence, or peace and love of everybody, universal acceptance, or punish the kafirs, punish the unbelievers, love what Allah loves and hate what Allah hates, and Allah hates people that aren't Muslim. That is in the text. That is not a propaganda thing. It's not an opinion. It's taken directly from the a total of 3 books that are that together are the guiding foundation for Islam and practicing the faith and being a Muslim. And being a good Muslim is defined by the text. So abrogation is where if a verse in chapter 16 is written before a verse in chapter 4, then the most recently written or the later in time written, whichever one was written last is the one that stands. If they conflict or contradict each other or say opposite things about one rule or anything, then you go with the later written one. So since he started his political thing, and all that, and in the law, started conquering, slaughtering, and all that. But so the peaceful verses that people like to quote and banter about are usually are already actually stricken out of even standing, being relevant or applicable, because verses written later in time, even if they're on a earlier page in the Quran than the first nicer verse, kinder verse, it still supersedes and dominates. And so, with Muslims themselves, either, I guess there's some categories they could fall into, and I love people as people. They're human beings. They're valuable. They're children of God. I don't believe that their Allah is the same God that I'm referring to, and saying they're children of God, and God loves them, cares about them. I think, just from my broad perspective of studying watching scholarly professors and experts who have studied the text and the history and all that of Islam, that people being Muslim, whether they're in it with no choice in the matter because they'll be killed if they leave, or they'll disappoint their family, or they'll be ostracized or cut off from their society, if they're in it for that, or if they're truly ignorant as to the true, deep-rooted nature of the theology and ideology of political, then they're like where the Bible says, God has their eyes closed and their ears closed until it's time to open them and time to give them that perceptional capability. So the ones that really don't realize even what they're actually in, they're following it voluntarily, and they just don't know any better. They're good, kind people. They don't really understand the full spectrum of everything, what they're actually expected to do, and how they're commanded to conduct themselves by Allah according to Muhammad via the Quran and Hadith and Sirah. But there's those, and there's the ones that do know what's up and do know what the whole full deal is, and they're in for it. They're in for the full shebang, and they want to do everything and be the perfect human being, which entails emulating Muhammad in all his ways and all. That's why I always mix up the Sirah and the Hadith. But the Quran says, be like Muhammad. He's a perfect human. Strive to be just as perfect a human as he was, in all ways possible, by every effort you can. And one is the Hadith and the Sirah. One is the ways of Muhammad, and one is the stories of him or something, or anecdotes. But I've read verses from each one and sections and content, but one's superseding a factor I can't keep straight. But what I said about God loves Muslims, and it probably hurts his heart for them to have turned on him like that. Even and if it's not as bad if they're truly in ignorant, not unintentional ignorant mindset, or if they're in it against their will or twisted, life threatened, etc. And I'm sure the ones that even have gone full jihadi or anything along those lines, he probably hurts his heart too, but to be that vehemently railed against. But another kind of more off the wall thing is that my theory on that, Allah is the same God of the Bible and this and this and this is that one thing the Quran says Allah told Muhammad, I'm the greatest of deceivers. So there's that, and it just juxtaposition the Bible has Jesus, who is Son of God, God incarnate, that I am the way, the truth, and the light. And those statements are so in contrast to each other and so it can't both be true. So the entity and said one of the statements cannot in any way that you logically analyze it cannot be the same entity as the other. And I do believe that the way it happened is that Satan can perform miracles too. He was an archangel. The devil can perform miracles, and he can appear or try to give the impression that his miracles are coming from God or a good angel, maybe, probably from God. So he can have a demon look like a human. He can do a miracle like that. So I believe the angel Gabriel that Muhammad saw and spoke to and listened to and had someone transcribe the words of was a demon that Satan sent. And the demon proclaimed all this about Allah, I suppose it's God, but it was really about just being fed about Satan. So I believe Allah is Satan. Unbeknownst to many Muslims, they don't believe there, but just his two statements in the books, the way, the truth, and the life, and then versus I'm the greatest of deceivers. I just don't see how those two could mesh. I don't see how they can coexist and be both true. So, just some musings and some things off the top of my head about why I feel the way I do about Muslims being either victims or just not knowing any better or having darkness in their hearts. And so, thoughts and reflections. So thank y'all for your time, and hope I'm not hating on Muslims. I mean, what some of them, minority of them do. I feel horrible for the females in countries where they don't have a choice about the hijab. If you want to wear it, that's fine, but if you don't want to and have to, that's not fine with me, because that's taking away somebody's free will. So that's all I'm going to get off here. Y'all take care.